Hello, and welcome to my presentation. My research topic will be psychology of the sublime and well-being, positive affects of awe and other aesthetic emotions. My name is Iya Wang. I chose this research topic because it aligns very well with my personal and academic interests. It combines my affinity for arts, humanities, health science with my love for psychology and neuroscience. For today's presentation, I'll be covering neuroaesthetics, which is a field of empirical aesthetics, musical aesthetics, neurocorrelates of awe and the sublime experiences, how the sublime emotions relate to well-being, and lastly, I will propose a practical framework to help people flourish in their life. First, I'll spend some time explaining some of the terms that you will encounter in this presentation. Aesthetic experiences are characterized as a psychological response to things that we perceive as beautiful or of aesthetic value. Whether it is a beautiful scenery in nature, a powerful piece of music, novel, or poetry, and those aesthetic experiences are often accompanied with aesthetic emotions, some of which can be quite powerful, such as the feelings of awe, sublimity, wonder, and amazement. Neuroaesthetics is a rather nascent but nonetheless very serious discipline concerning scientific studies on aesthetics, and in particular how our brain responds to aesthetic stimuli. There is some controversy to the field, as it can happen anytime one tries to combine hard science with arts and humanities. One of the concerns being that it can be hard to quantify subjective experiences such as awe and the sublime. And the last concept is the PERMA theory of well-being. It is a theory proposed by positive psychologist Martin Seligman. So each letter of the PERMA represents an essential component to one's well-being. So P would stand for positive emotion, E stands for engagement, R stands for relationships, M stands for meaning, and A stands for achievement. One of the essential questions concerning aesthetics is how does our brain perceive beauty and judge whether or not a particular stimulus is aesthetically pleasing? And so that could be considered as the hard problem in neuroaesthetics. Although neuroscience and machine learning could help us better understand this problem. In the next section, I will be talking about musical aesthetics and summarize a little Dr. Kroom's 2012 research article on music, neuroscience, and the psychology of well-being. Since music has been intimate with us throughout basically human evolutionary history, we could probably guess that there is some very important and very emotional value of music. So it turns out that music can elicit a range of complex emotions, such as surprise, awe, chills, comfort, and laughter. Music can induce emotions in us by either reinforcing or diverting our expectations or predictions of future events, manipulating of uncertainty using delay, violation, and satisfaction, which could cause arousal and tension. And this resolution of the tension will elicit pleasurable feelings. Music can also enhance well-being and promote flourishing by arousing P. Remember P, PERMA, P stands for positive emotion, and strengthening social bonds and relationships, promoting engagement and flow state, as well as giving meaning and sense of achievement to life. Research on musical awe has shown that music can reliably induce aesthetic responses such as thrills, Konechny and colleague found that participants have the strongest thrill response to Rachmaninoff's piano concerto piece versus the Haydn piece, and that the priming of various other stimuli did not affect the thrills felt by those two classical music pieces. And participants reported they felt the most thrill listening to the US anthem and the last 4 minutes or so of the Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2, Movement 3. I'll try to play a little bit of the Maninoff's the last few minutes. I'll just play a little bit. Not sure if it'll be recorded. So that's that. And then musical surprises can be crafted to evoke positive psychological effects and create a sense of awe through the mechanism of contrastive valence. And this is proposed by Heron in his book, Sweet Expectations, which I highly recommend anyone who wants to learn more about musical emotions should try to read that book. Next up on my slide are neural correlates of awe and the sublime. Researchers have found that the default mode network, or DMN, is less activated during awe experiences, which is interesting because DMN is usually active in activities such as mind wandering, self-referential activities, and subconscious thinking. And all those could be the source of a lot of mental sufferings, right? Such as when we're ruminating about the past and the constant replaying of certain events in our mind. And so this finding means that experiencing awe will help us stop this kind of unnecessary self-centered mental dwellings, as we will be fully immersed in the awe stimuli. Researchers also found that ACC, MCC, PCC, MTG, which stands for anterior cingulate cortex, middle cingulate cortex, posterior cingulate cortex, and the middle temporal gyrus. Researchers found that there is less gray matter volume in those brain regions. And those regions are responsible for attention, self-regulation, cognitive control, and social emotion. These associations could implicate that people with higher trait awe has an increased propensity to embrace cognitive accommodation and new knowledge. And research has also found experiences of awe is related to frontal-parietal network. They found there is increased activity in this brain network. This regions of brain are responsible for sustained attention, complex problem solving, and working memory. A little more on the DMN and awe. Here's some details about the research that found an association between the default mode network and awe experiences. I won't go deep into the results, however, due to time restraints, but it is important, I think, to know the different brain regions that are considered part of the DMN. They are the medial prefrontal cortex, posterior cingulate cortex, and the angular gyrus. Next, I will cover one of my favorite part of the research, which is how aesthetic emotions are related to well-being. Studies by Mestandria and colleague have shown aesthetic appreciation can improve memory, lower stress, ameliorate social inclusion, and enhance cognitive function. A cross-national study found scientists, in particular, the study is in particular the physicists and biologists. So they found that those scientists who experience beauty, awe, and wonder in their work have higher flourishing in their lives. Aesthetic experiences are the most strongly associated with the flourishing domain of meaning in life, and those results show a large positive association between frequency of aesthetic experiences and flourishing. Furthermore, the experience of awe plays an important role in meaning making, which increases the possibility of finding new positive meanings in life. Awe also encourages people to transform mundane concerns and weakens desire for material acquisitions. Awe provides people with ability to shape their life frameworks and to develop a personal sense of meaning in life. For astronauts who had seen Earth from the space, awe and wonder experiences are the most common emotions as described in their in-flight journals. And these experiences often have a dramatic impact on their lives as, quote, they often report, quote unquote, they often report engaging in environmental and humanitarian causes after their experiences. This is the result of what psychologists call a perspectival shift, which is a dawning of a moral sense that is tied to a visual experience of seeing Earth from space, a sense that can lead to a renewed responsibility towards others or understanding of other cultures. A similar phenomenon underlying the transformative experience of awe is called the overview effect or scale effects. The awe-eliciting stimuli are usually so vast in physical size or in concept that people who experience it need to shift their mental constructs in order to accommodate the overwhelming size differences. Finally, with the help of Seligman's PERMA model of well-being, I will propose here 4 actions that anyone can incorporate in their lives to improve their well-being. And these 4 actions have the acronym NUMA. So I call them the NUMA actions for flourishing. And they include nature walk, unconditional love, meditation, and affirmative goals. I will elaborate on those in the next couple of slides. So nature walk and positive emotions. Since the experience of awe has been linked to increased positive emotions and decrease in emotions of distress, activities that induce awe will probably increase our positive emotions. And because one of the most cited sources of awe is in nature, it makes sense that taking frequent walks where nature is abundant will increase our positive emotions and increase our well-being. Other activities people can try to induce positive emotions include listening to live or classical music, visiting art galleries and art museums, practicing loving kindness meditation, practicing gratitude, being around positive people, savoring the moment, and setting exciting goals in life. Meditation and engagement. Awe by design engages our senses and immerses us in the present moment. So to experience increased flow state, one could try mindfulness meditation practice in nature. Meditation and other forms of mental training have been shown to improve focus, improve cognitive performance, increase flow experiences, maintain goal-directed attention over time. Other activities to induce flow include doing arts and crafts. Sexual activities have been shown to induce flow state, practicing or performing an instrument, playing sports. Unconditional love and relationships. It can be argued that awe experiences can inspire one to love unconditionally. Astronauts who saw the Earth from space often report they feel a heightened sense of connection and love for all human beings. Awe can also be elicited in the context of close relationships, which could in turn improve our relationships with others. Since interpersonal awe was defined by the theme of virtue or excellence of character, we can infer that being around people who inspire us, who exemplify great virtue and character, could make us feel awe and strive to live a more meaningful life ourselves. Other activities to try to improve personal relationships include compassion and loving kindness meditation, volunteering, mentoring, doing random acts of kindness. Goals, meaning and achievement. So having highly valued goals to strive for in life is associated with living a highly meaningful life. And because dispositional awe is linked to greater sense of meaning in life, it is not so far-fetched to say that practicing awe could lead to a more meaningful life as well. Goals that can enhance any of the 5 aspects of well-being in PERMA. By moving towards valid goals, one can increase positive emotions, engagement in skilled activities, development of relationships, meaning and purpose in life, and accomplishment. Goals also give our life direction, motivates us to keep going in life even when things become too challenging. And here are some tips on how to set better goals. Besides using the SMART system, which is set specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timely goals. Goals should also focus on doing activities or creating new experiences instead of acquiring possessions. Also, goals need to be affirmative or approachable or approaching a desirable outcome. So goals that involve approaching a desired outcome instead of avoiding an undesirable one are more likely to lead to sustained happiness and well-being. And so in the last part of my presentation, I want to challenge everyone to try and practice Pneuma every day for 30 days and see for yourselves the power of these actions. That will conclude my presentation. Here's the last word. Remember, if you succeed in everything you try in life, you're living below your full potential and you should take up more difficult or daring things. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation today.